G'day guys, Tom and Wade here from Different Drop, and you will not believe the wines that we are going to open up and look at today. We're going to have a look at 6 of Australia's most sought after and rare cult wines.
Definitely.
For want of a better word. 6 incredible wines. Wade, you've been a member of several cults.
The leader of 2.
Talk to us about why you're excited about this lineup.
So I couldn't be more pumped, actually. I think this is probably the sickest lineup of Australian wine ever put on camera, I reckon.
Big cool.
Some of these wines are just impossible to buy. These are the wines that just drive us nuts every year because we can never buy enough of them. Everyone wants them.
Yeah.
I want to drink them. This is going to be good, dude. I am so pumped.
So a couple from our kind of personal collections and from our tiny little DD cellar here as well. And we've been waiting for an opportunity to open some of these bottles for years. Some really special wines. So, and look, some incredible producers. Should we hint at some of the producers?
All right. So the lineup, the roll call.
Not specific wines. We'll keep that a surprise.
Yeah. Not specific wines, but here's the roll call of producers. So we've got Sorrenberg. We've got Luke Lambert. We have Coda Barrels, Sammy Odie, Timo Mayer,
And Ruggabellis.
So it's the rock stars.
It's the rock stars. These guys are, every way you could think of the term cult winemaker is these guys. You know, the wines, you can't find their wines. They sell out upon release every year within minutes, if they're even offered at all.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is very exciting. Let's get cracking with wine number 1, mate.
All right, wine number 1. So, first wine is the Sorrenberg Sauvignon Blanc Semillon. So, Sorrenberg, really one of the icons of Victorian wine, particularly in Beechworth.
Would you call Barry Morey a pin-up boy of Australian wine?
Yeah, 100%. The amazing thing about this producer is you can pretty much open anything from them, and it would hit this kind of cult status. So, possibly most famous for the Gamay and for the Chardonnay, but even amongst their wines, this wine has its own just like rabid fan base where people freak out for it every year.
Yeah, it's one of Australia's best white wines. Great story, quick background on Sorrenberg for those that don't know. So they're based in Beechworth in northern Victoria. So Barry Morey's got a winemaking history in his family that goes back 500 years to Germany. So he's got relatives that were making wine on the Moselle, centuries ago. His grandfather, I think it was, immigrated to Australia. They planted this vineyard there in Beechworth back in the mid-'80s. First vintage was 89. Specifically chose this site because it's the highest altitude spot in the Beechworth area that still has granite soils, which is very important for this style. Named Sorrenberg after a small vineyard that's still owned by Barry's grandfather's family in Germany.
That's very cool.
Very cool. And certified biodynamics since 2008. They don't make a fuss about it. They're not a hipster label.
No.
Right? But just the most amazing, meticulous farmers. And they've just got this incredible site, and the wines are so beautifully made.
So Sorrenberg really epitomizes that romantic, classical idea of one family, one farm, one small patch of dirt, and something really special coming from that place. I know I was there in 2016, and I was down visiting.
Was it their place that you put the forklift through the shed? Was that?
It wasn't. Yes, that did happen. But no, that wasn't there. No, I went to, I was actually hanging out with Tessa Brown, and I was like, look, I've only got like a couple of days here. And she goes, if you've only got a couple of days, we have to get you to Sorrenberg before you go. So I think we were slightly dusty this day. It may have been a reasonably large night before. But anyway,
doesn't sound like a thing you would do.
And Tessa she worked for a couple of years for Barry and Jan, so she knows them quite well. And I remember her saying to me, she's like, when we were setting up our farm, like her and her husband Jeremy, that they were asking themselves like, what would the Moreys do if they were setting up their farm from scratch? So they're really like, one of those deeply influential, forward-thinking producers. Yeah. So.
Amazing.
Anyway,
so one little note on these wines. So we were tossing up whether or not to open these earlier and give them some time to breathe. but we thought it'd be a lot more fun just to open them fresh with you and see them, for the first time and get our immediate reaction. So I'm sure all these wines will continue to develop beautifully in the glass, but we haven't tasted some of these wines in years.
God damn it. Okay, so this is basically, probably it'd be this and Triolet that would be, from Mount Mary, would be the two benchmark examples of like Sauvignon Blanc Semillon blends. Yep. Triolet obviously has a bit of muscadel in it as well, but these are kind of the two benchmarks in Australia for this. Triolet is like $100. This is like 50, and ridiculously underpriced for that.
Not that it matters because you can't buy it.
No, exactly. And you can buy it. But it's essentially 80% Sauvignon Blanc and 20% Semillon. The Sauvignon Blanc portion sees 4 hours skin contact. The whole lot is all barrel fermented, so it's made not dissimilarly to how you would make like a classical Chardonnay. But really, this is Australia's answer to Bordeaux Blanc. And a lot of people think it smashes a lot of those top Bordeaux Blancs. Yeah. So
always about texture and structure, this wine too. Yeah. Like first and foremost, like remarkable salinity and acidity and freshness to it, purity. But then that barrel ferment, bit of time on skins, and also lots of lees work. I know Barry likes adds texture. I wouldn't call it creamy, no, because the fruit is just like bursting out of the glass. But
it's an opulent white wine. Like even this 23 in a cooler vintage. Wow. So in these cooler years, you can really see it has like a little hint of that sort of lemongrass, kind of like slightly herbaceous edge to it, and a little bit spicy.
Yeah, like gingery.
Gingery, yeah. So, but in warmer years, it's like, a massive punch you in the face fruit bomb at the same time. So this wine is legendary for its cellaring ability. Like, it's sort of a 15, 20-year white wine if you want it to be.
Easily.
But bloody hell, it looks really good on release, hey? So this is the 2023 vintage.
So drinkable and charming now as well. But as Wade's saying, I think would age remarkably well. It's what you would call like a complete wine. You know what I mean? It's just the balance, the structure, the flavor, the aromatics. It has everything there.
Yeah, it's so satisfying to drink as well. Yeah. Like the finish on it has this beautiful sense of like minerality and chalkiness to it. Yeah. That slight hint of saltiness, like you were saying. Yeah. So it just sucks you back into the glass. Like you want to it's one of those ones you just want to smash on your own. Like, do not share.
Do not share. Wow. And big shout out to the lovely people. So Barry and Jan Morey there, been there for making these wines for 30 odd years now, 35 years. Their daughter Cara is involved these days, helping out with things as well, and just great people to deal with when you can get the wines. That is, we're always putting our hand up for as much as we can get. Hint, guys, a little bit more stock, thanks. No, just joking. We love the wines, and just a real pleasure to be able to share them around and to drink them ourselves. They're special.
So this is such an awesome place too. Like they don't have a cellar door as such, but if you get in touch, if you're in Beechworth and you get in touch with them, and they're around, you can go and check it out. But it's effectively their house. So the backyard leads straight into the vineyard, which is like 20 meters away, which is very cool. And then downstairs, like underneath their shed, basically, is where the barrel room is. And so you walk down these like really kind of like tight little steps into this like really cool old school, like it feels like you've walked into like a European cellar sort of thing. Like it's a little slice of like Burgundy in Australia, and it has that real authentic kind of domain feel to it.
And they have that feel as a brand, as a producer of being 1 foot in the old world and 1 foot in the new. Like lots of old world inspiration that even the labels, the winemaking techniques, the focus on elegance, but then it tastes like the Australian bush still. You know, it reminds me like Wendouree is like that. Like when you're lucky enough to visit them there, like you feel like you're in some European cellar from hundreds of years ago, except the place is surrounded by gum trees.
Yeah,
and it's hot and it feels like Australia. And that's what I love about some of these producers is they manage to I guess get the best out of both worlds. Wow. I don't know. Do we have to taste 5 other wines?
Man,
how are we going to divide these up?
This is just firing up straight away. This is so good.
What a start. So refreshing.
Yeah, so that's an absolutely banging bottle of that too.
This might be an empty spittoon kind of video, I think.
Go dry bucket. Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Sorrenberg.
All right, let's move on.